And so, living to 100, that's an accomplishment, but living to 100 with having a quality of life that you're happy with, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
And they've found that in these 5 places in the world that people do have that. And there are these unique characteristics of each place that contributes towards that.
You're watching A3 Aging Ann Arbor, where we talk about aging and what you need to know. I'm Faye Molitor.
And I'm Sheila Doden.
Welcome to the show. Welcome back to A3 Aging Ann Arbor. We are super excited to introduce Brittany Patton, who is the director and supervisor at the Ann Arbor Senior Center. Hi.
Hi.
Good morning.
It's so nice to have you on.
It's so nice to be here and, to be able to sit down and have just an interesting conversation outside of just when we see each other at meetings and in passing. So thank you so much for thinking to invite me.
Well, we're happy you can make it for sure. You are the director and supervisor at the Ann Arbor Senior Center. Sheila and I have done health fairs, many health fairs at senior centers. What else is offered at a senior center? It's funny because when we decided to do this show, I was thinking about it and I'm like, I know there's a lot of activities, but talk about it a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because I've learned that each senior center is different in what they provide in the sense of the people that come there. So our members tend to really like activities where it's either outdoors or they have movement or there's learning. And then there are some senior centers that do a lot of crafting and more of group games. And, we try them all and we just continue with what sticks. So what's been sticking for us is, so we have classes that are offered in partnership with Washtenaw Community College.
Oh, cool.
And so this partnership, they provide the instructor, we provide the space, and then in turn it's free for everyone that participates.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and so the classes that they provide, we have 2 different levels of Tai Chi. We have an Italian language class, which is new this year.
Wow.
We have a line dancing class, which started last year, and I think it's probably the most popular activity we've ever offered.
Cool. Line dancing is fun.
Yeah. And the different types of people that come, there are people that come to more of our physical activities and come to the line dancing, and then there are people that are more reserved and quiet, but they're out there doing the line dancing.
That's
so
fun.
It touches all different types of characteristics.
Yeah, and there's a lot of bridge.
Bridge,
A lot of bridge.
Bridge.
I was like, wow, there's a lot of bridge going on there.
Yeah.
Bridge is very competitive. We offer instructional bridge classes.
Okay.
We offer a non-sanctioned bridge game that is not as competitive. It's more so people that are kind of new to the game or haven't played it in a long time. And then we offer a sanctioned bridge game, which is competitive.
I've never played bridge.
No, me either. Me either.
Be interesting.
Is
What is it?
I'm curious as to how bridge is even played. Do you know? I mean, have you played it?
I don't know how to play because I'm scared to learn. Because people are so competitive.
Yeah.
And we have 3 different levels of lessons, and people repeat them for years before they feel comfortable coming to a sanctioned bridge
it's
game.
Complicated.
It's a lifelong game.
That's really cool. Talk about keeping your mind clicking, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah,
so.
and it's, it can be social. There are, quiet times during the game.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have 40 people coming, and in between, I think, rounds, they get up, they have coffee,
That's what I was going to say.
mingle.
I think there's movement in there. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And, it was the hardest over the pandemic because it was one of the activities people left their houses for, to get out, be able to have cognitive thinking, see their friends.
Yeah.
And I know that there was a big bridge movement online that a lot of people did for a while. And, a lot of people haven't come out of playing online
Yeah.
still, just because it's such a close contact
Sure.
game.
Okay.
But
Sure.
we're slowly starting to see more
Yeah.
and more people trickle in. And
Yeah.
Well, and
Wow,
you're
that's super
nestled
cool.
in like a really cool area in Ann Arbor, and I
Mhm.
think you've got tennis courts or pickleball courts
we have
right
both
there too. Yeah,
right there. Yep.
So I mean, there's a lot happening, but it's in a very little quaint kind of area, tucked off of a main drag.
Yeah.
Which is so it's accessible. I'm sure a lot of people walk there.
Lots of people
Yeah.
walking their dogs. We were right next to Burns Park Elementary, so lots
Yeah.
of families.
Kids,
And, with the park usage, there are all different types of people. So, like you mentioned, there's the tennis courts and pickleball, but there's a huge green park space. So, we have softball and soccer
Aw.
games and, events that U of M and other like theater groups present in. So it's really active and diverse, and it's a wonderful place to
It's
be.
a happening place.
It is, and I actually grew up like 3 blocks away from the
Oh,
senior center,
really? Oh, that's
coincidentally.
cool.
So I
Okay.
feel like it's home.
That's for sure home to you.
Nice.
That's so fun.
Is there people there that you know still that maybe come to the senior center that are older from when you were smaller?
Yes,
Yeah,
there are
okay.
some. A teacher, parents, friends, or I'm sorry, friends' parents. And now some of my friends live in the neighborhood with their kids, and
Yeah.
That's cool.
it just feels like a real community
A
and
family.
a family, exactly.
Yeah, that's fun. So what drew you to this type of work?
Well, to be perfectly honest, I've worked for the Parks Department,
Yeah.
which the Senior Center is a part of, and I've worked for it since I graduated high school in various roles. So I started as a cashier at a pool, and I was a lifeguard. I worked at the golf courses and the canoe liveries, and I eventually started full-time with the city doing contract management and some special project work. And because I had so much experience working at different facilities, when the previous director announced that she was retiring, they asked that I go and fill in the interim while, they decided what they were the next
Sure.
move would be. And after 5 months, they said, okay, what do you have to say about your time there? Do you like it? Do you have any recommendations of what type of person to hire? And I said, I love it. I never want to leave. Please don't make me leave and go back to doing my other things.
Yeah.
And-
so you just fell into it, sort of. I mean, you worked for the recreation department, but kind of fell into this role.
Fell
and
into
then
it by
fell in
happenstance.
love with it. Oh, that's cool, Brittany.
Yeah. And so I started the summer of 2019, just kind of overlapping with the previous
Yeah.
director. And so it was once she left in like November, it was a huge learning curve, and I didn't have that much time with her just to kind of meet the people in the community that work with seniors. And I'm so grateful because once the pandemic happened, Kathy Mitchell, actually, of Washtenaw County Senior Leaders, reached out to me and said, hey, I have this group. Would you want to come to one of our meetings? You can meet some people that, work in the same area. And I said, sure, let's try that. And I've made so many connections. Celine Senior Center has been so helpful.
That's a cool place too.
It really is. Yeah.
They took me under their wing, and they
Yeah.
showed me how they were doing activities, not just during normal times, but how to adapt activities over Zoom during the pandemic.
Sure.
And so I really have to thank Washtenaw County Senior Leaders and Kathy for taking me, taking a chance and asking me to join the group, because otherwise I wouldn't have, learned and become so familiar with the way that, the community operates and helps support seniors.
Oh, it is. We've talked about the community a lot, and everything you just spoke about just reiterates everything that we've talked about as far as Washtenaw County, Ann Arbor area, and all the outlying cities, and how we all are pulling together and helping seniors, and we all kind of help each other. It isn't competitive, is what I'm saying.
Exactly.
So Kathy pulling you in, and the group that, everyone, happy to have met you, and we're really
Yeah.
happy that you're here and doing what you do because you're so bubbly, and it's obvious that you love what you do. So that's going to like trickle into the folks that come into the Ann Arbor Senior Center. They're going to feel that, and they're going to want to be there. And we want you to be here like every day because you're so easy to be around. It's so great,
Thank
Brittany.
you so
Yeah.
much.
So how many members do you have?
Right now we have around 500 members.
Wow.
Wow.
And so, and you know, it's not that we're having 500 people walk through our
Right.
door every week. It's we have people that subscribe to our newsletter, people that come to a monthly activity, come to multiple monthly activities, people that come to 3 or 4 activities a week. So it's
Their choice.
yep, it's their choice, and everyone that was a member before seems to have come back, but because we've offered so many new types of programming over the past year, we have so many new faces, so many new people, friends, couples that have come together, tried the activity out, made a connection with each other,
Oh,
and
that's so
are
cool.
continuing to, you know, encourage us to try something new or
Yeah.
you know, just give more opportunities for people to get together, get out of the house.
Sure, sure. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, what a service, you know?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, especially with it being affiliated with just it's the city of Ann Arbor
Yes.
that you basically are working for, and that's a huge municipality, and to have that little tiny niche right throughout the whole city is just it's super cool.
Thank
So,
you. I
yeah,
feel
yeah.
that too.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
And
absolutely.
I try to tap into a lot of the parks, you know, connections
Sure,
too.
Sure.
One thing that we started last summer was Friday morning park walks. And
Oh.
so during the warm weather season,
Yeah.
we meet at a different park every Friday, walk a mile, and then we sit afterwards and have snacks and drinks and talk to each other.
That's so nice.
And, you know, we go and we walk these trails beforehand, making sure that, you know, elevation, the trail conditions,
Oh,
the
that's
length,
really cool.
everything is appropriate for,
Yeah, for
a cer-
lack of falls and all of those things. Yeah. Oh, that's so cool.
Exactly. We had 45 people, I think, at the biggest walk over this
Uh-huh.
past year, and 45 people on a walk is a lot of people.
That is a lot of people. Yeah, yeah. Ann Arbor is that type of area, though, I will say. People move here. They like to
They
walk.
do, yeah. And there's so
Yeah.
many parks that you can go to
Mm-hmm.
and walk that I feel are sufficient for the aging population. They're pretty well groomed and landscaped and manicured and
We try.
Yeah.
There's 162 parks in
Yeah.
Ann Arbor.
Holy cow.
And
Yeah.
we've found, you know, going to a park and going on a walk for you and I, may not seem that intimidating, but, you know, for a lot of people, even like our age, it is intimidating. You don't know where the trail leads. You don't know if there's going to be parking.
Sure.
And we found that a lot of our members and seniors in general, trying something new like that, it can be a scary first attempt to do on your own. And so we just have been trying to provide experiences where, you know, we meet people outside of the senior center and try a new activity and, you know, let them know what to expect ahead of time. A couple of those that we did over the summer was the Ann Arbor Summer Festival. We had an out and about group of about 12 people come out, and we enjoyed the festival together. We said where people could park, where to meet, what type of food would be provided. And so we've been doing those monthly, and we changed the location every month. So we did an art walk downtown Ann Arbor to look at the different murals, the Matai Botanical Gardens. I think next month we're doing the Natural History Museum.
Oh, that's so cool. So how many people are involved in planning all of these excursions and all of these fun activities?
It's myself and my 2 assistant facility supervisors.
That's not that many. You guys are really good at pulling this together.
the
That's
right
super
people,
cool.
that's
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
well, and it's so nice that you can tell your members or the people who are entertaining coming to some of those walks or activities that you've scoped it out for them, and you're providing them with all the additional information so that they feel maybe a little bit more comfortable in knowing that it's already kind of been previewed for them.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, that's super
Yeah,
fun.
that is
No,
super cool.
Not everyone likes surprises, and especially when you set your heart out to go try a new activity, and there are all these barriers of
Oh,
the
yeah.
roads closed
Yeah.
to get to the parking structure, or
Yeah.
it's
Or the terrain is a little bit too out of control for them to be trying to walk on, or, yeah, understood. I would never have thought about the fact that you would, I mean, it's really great that you do that, but what a great thought to go out there and check it out first and make sure that it's appropriate for all of the elders and seniors that are walking around on it. That's super cool. Wow.
Yeah, it definitely makes you think about all of the back stuff. You're not just walking through the door for an activity. You're doing things outside of the center itself. It sounds like, I mean, when we've looked at your schedule, you've got things going on, but
There's
it sounds
so
like you do a
much.
lot more outside of it as
There
well, which
were
I didn't realize.
so many activities on the list online. I mean, it was like, I was like, oh, I'll learn Italian.
well,
I know biscotti and I know espresso.
bravo.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, how fun. That's super cool. Okay. So, let's see. We're going to switch gears a little bit here, and we're going to talk about the question that we sent you and that we ask every single guest that comes on A3 Aging Ann Arbor. And that is, what does aging well look like for you, Brittany Patton?
Well, the question was so exciting to see, especially since I have recently been doing a lot of, just on my own time, looking into longevity, quality of life, just kind of some of the qualities and characteristics that people find valuable,
Sure.
From a young age to an older age, and just how people have so many unique characteristics, but there are some underlining things that
Sure.
everyone has in common that increases why life is so great and so beautiful.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. There are so many different dynamics, and we've met so many cool
Yeah.
people over the years, but I will tell you, not all of them have longevity. The reason we do what we do is a lot of the folks that we work with have some form of condition that they can't stay alone at home. They can't do things on their own anymore. We are so interested in understanding what it is that helps an individual live longer with like 100% quality of life. And we were talking earlier that you were doing research on blue zones, which is super interesting. So we would really like to hear more about the research that you did, and maybe some of what you learned.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so excited to be able to talk about it with you. My poor husband, that's all I talk about. There's a documentary or miniseries on
Yeah.
Netflix that I've watched 4 times. And so I just having the opportunity
Has
to
he
talk
watched
about
it with
Yes.
once.
Once, okay. Once and done.
You're ahead of me, Brittany. I've watched it twice so far, but I'm gonna watch it again because it's so interesting.
You keep pulling so much out
Yeah.
of it. And
Yeah.
so I guess I can, give you a little
Sure.
brief of kind of what I've taken away from it.
Yeah.
So there are 5 blue zones in the world. There's one in Ikonia, Greece. There's one in Okinawa, Japan. Ogliastra region of Sardinia. Loma Linda, California. And Nicoya Peninsula of Costa Rica.
Yes.
So, the blue zones have been studied for a long time, and recently, especially thanks to Netflix,
Yes.
there's this incredible docuseries out about one of a U.S. Cyclist who was just fascinated that these places existed. And so in this docuseries, he visits each place, and he's created kind of this circle of, not circle of life, but there are 9 different principles that each of these places have in common or contribute to one another
Yes.
that lead to longevity.
So just to be clear, blue zones are areas where folks live. They call it the centenarian areas, and folks live to 100 or over 100 in these areas. So just want to throw that out there because I don't think we were clear on that part of it.
Thank you.
But yes. So go ahead. And
so, living to 100, that's an accomplishment, but living to 100 with having a quality of life that you're happy with, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
And they've found that in these 5 places in the world that people do have that, and there are these unique characteristics of each place that contributes towards that.
So it's not about, I think we were prefacing it earlier in our conversation before we started the podcast, but it's not about what you eat. It's not about how many times you go to the gym. It's not about, all of those other things. Is it more of like a mindset?
That's part of it.
and a lifestyle.
Exactly.
A
lifestyle.
mindset and a lifestyle. I think the lifestyle is probably just the way that they're raised. Obviously, I've watched it too. They're brought up even in a way that, it just kind of emulates from generation to generation how life is a gift, and that every day they wake up with a purpose. And that just they don't live with a lot of things. It isn't about acquiring. It is more about fulfilling. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense.
Is that what you're getting from it too?
Yes, you said it
Okay.
exactly how I would have dreamed to have said it. Well, so, there are these 9 different pillars, and there are 4 that really, that I could really connect with. So one of them is purpose, which you mentioned when you're, explaining what these places are. And so to me, it's why you wake up in the morning. It's about selflessness and your contributions to yourself, to your community, to your family, to the things that you love. And so, it's hard because in modern society, contributions have a lot to do with work and, succeeding at a certain level in terms of like salary and lifestyle of, materialistic things.
Yeah.
And these are more innate types of contributions that can be carried on, for years and years.
Generation to generation. They don't worry about status.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. And so another one was the natural movement. And so, Sheila, that's what you were mentioning. You don't have to run a marathon or go to the gym
Right.
3 times a week. These are natural movements. So in Okinawa, Japan, you don't have a dining room table or dining room chairs. You eat your meals on the floor, and through that process of getting to the ground and getting yourself back up again 3 times a day. That's a natural movement that, increases your flexibility, your balance, and it's not something that necessarily needs to be time set aside for. There's
Sure.
just natural things that you do
Yeah,
in a daily
it's not like
gardening.
you're setting aside a daily routine of exercise.
Exactly.
Your daily routine is your exercise.
Yes,
Yeah.
and gardening, walking to the
Yes.
store. In Sardinia, the elevation plays a big part in natural movement.
Yeah.
So the town that these centenarians live in, they're very steep streets downtown, and there are people in their 90s walking up these steep little cobblestone pathways, and it's not like they've set out to exercise. It's
Right.
they're getting from one place to the
Natural
next.
cardio.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nutrition. So, there's all different types of view on, what's healthy, vegetarian, pescatarian, eating lots of protein. Everyone has a different opinion.
Sure.
But one thing that they mentioned is having the 80% rule. So eating up into a point that you're 80% full. And, once you're sufficiently filled, not to the point that you think you can't eat
Yeah.
anymore. So it's just being mindful of quantity in your
Yeah.
consumption. And then the last one was community and sense of family. And, they go into family from, like a natural blood related standpoint, but also community. It doesn't have to be some family you're born into. It's the one that you
Sure.
create with the people around you and just the people that have kind of a like-minded attitude towards life.
Hence why you do what you do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
That's, I
Yeah,
love that.
isn't that cool?
Yeah,
I
it's
just,
super cool.
it is so cool. They truly wake up every day excited for what the day will entail. And I know we do too.
Yeah.
Every day.
Well, there's something
But-
every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There
but-
should be something every day. That's, isn't that the point?
Yeah.
Is that you wake
Yeah.
up and there's something every day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
whatever you make
their,
it.
It's their purpose.
Right.
And that purpose is, helping their family members, their community members, all of those things. And of course, doing whatever their role is, their job is, which, could be as minimal to us, but so important to them. So in speaking of status, they don't it's not about what they do, it's about how they feel doing it.
Yeah.
And how proud they are of their role, no matter what the role is. And that I thought was super cool too.
Exactly, which
Yep.
kind of segues into, your question. So,
Yes.
what do you think aging well looks like for me?
Mm-hmm.
And so, what I've pulled from just my research in the blue zones and having these conversations with you and other people about what makes life so special, I have four pillars of my own that
you made pillars.
I have my 4 pillars. So, just kind of what you're saying, meaningful interpersonal relationships. So, back to family isn't what you're born into. These are connections you have with people that you talk to every day, people you just pass by on the street, having these little moments with another human that spark something and just, you have that little inner smile because you've made this eye connection with somebody that smiles back at you. So, you don't have to have a date with a different friend every night of the week. It's just having this feeling of connectiveness with, people in general.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that's huge. I love that.
And then health is the second one.
Sure.
And so, health, to me, it's, measuring the physical, emotional, and cognitive ability to enjoy activities meaning to you at that specific point in time. So, life changes, our age changes, our, where we live, who we spend our time with. It's really up to where you are at your stage in life. And so this is something that, health is going to change, and it's trying to balance things a little bit differently, just to account for where you're at. So that leads me into balance. And so you were mentioning just being able to adapt and realize what characteristics of happiness are important to you. So as you have different characteristics of getting older, there are some things, that are important to me now that aren't going to be important to me later, but that doesn't mean the things now are any less important than
Right.
they are now, and the things later are going to be any less important. It's just where you are at in that time.
Sure. Well, and that's aging. Yeah. See, you're worldly and an old soul. You are, because that's huge. That was super cool.
Thank you. Well, and so then my last one is reflection.
Okay.
And so I think that kind of encompasses all of these pillars, both mine and from the docu-series. And so this is just sitting well with yourself, and, being happy with your life's contributions, feeling secure, and, life's contributions back to, material items, or,
Because it's not a
salary.
happiness meter. I mean, you can't measure happiness, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And so it's, it's like, personally, I go to bed at night and I think about my day, and I think about, okay, what did I do today that was positive? What was optimistic? Did I make an impact, a positive impact on anyone? Was there anything that I did that I didn't feel that doesn't sit well with me? And, when I'm, 40 years from now, I'd like to be able to look back on today and think that what I was doing was, helpful to humanity and like a greater purpose outside of myself.
Yeah.
So
That's great. Well, I can assure you,
You're doing that.
You're definitely touching a lot of people every day in a really positive way. What makes you? What do you think contributed to your wisdom? Like, is it family members in life, or because you really have, like, for as young as you are, you have like this old wisdom. The way you think about things and talk about things. What do you think contributes to that?
it's interesting that you ask that, because I've had so much clarity over the past, 2 years of kind of where my mind's at and how it's gotten here. I've always had a really strong relationship with my parents and my grandparents, and so just being able to have input that is, multi-generational,
Yeah.
it's I think it's made my perspective more, well-rounded, and made me think a lot more. And then also, I lost my mom 4 years ago, and my grandfather, who is like a father to me, a year after that. And losing my mom was, obviously very traumatizing, tragic, sad, hard, everything, and everything
Yeah.
above and in between.
Yeah.
And it was through the time that we had with her during hospice that I really was able to reflect and see what's important.
Yeah.
And, there's so many different things that, went through my mind. And a couple of things are, like, I tried to balance my work while also being a caretaker for her. And, that's important, but I do miss not using up all of my sick and vacation
Yeah.
time to not spend more time with her, even though I
Right.
was her caretaker.
Right.
And so, there's things like that. And then there's just towards the end, the people that were there that, she's had connections with her entire life, but hadn't kept very close with. Having those connections and seeing and talking to those people was
Yeah.
so important. And her, knowing that her illness was terminal and the end was,
Inevitable.
inevitable, and still finding ways to enjoy that time and embracing
Yeah.
family and friends and baking
Yeah.
and just,
Oh.
doing the things at that point of her life that she found valuable and she could do.
Yeah.
Well, and you being her daughter, I mean, you probably knew her pretty well. Yeah. And to be able to engage those people in those types of activities with her as her caregiver, I'm sure that meant the world to her as well.
Sure. And the beautiful thing is that she lives through those folks. So you still have her, and she's living through you. And I think that's a beautiful thing too. Yeah. Wow. Okay, well, that answers that question. You're definitely an old soul, and your mom has definitely emulated through you for sure. So that's a good thing. Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for sharing all of that. That was heartfelt.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
very
very
welcome. Thank you
heartfelt,
for the opportunity to
Yeah.
talk about life and the important things in it, and how we can all contribute towards each other's happiness. It's such
Sure.
an important conversation that I think more people need to have more often.
Well,
Oh,
people
I
are going to
agree.
see it today.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's important and a beautiful
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
it is a beautiful thing, and that's the whole purpose of this. So, thank you, Brittany.
Oh, thank you.
It's been great.
So how can people connect with the Senior Center in Ann Arbor?
Yes, lots of ways. So you can give us a call. Our telephone number is 734-794-6250. You can email me, which is the letter B as in boy, P as in Paul, A, T as in Tom, T as in Tom, O, N as in Nancy, at the letter A, the number 2, GOV as in Victor.org. I've done that a couple of times.
That was cool.
Yeah, very nice.
And then our website is a2gov.org/senior.
Awesome.
Cool.
You're going to have an influx after
Yeah.
they hear you today. So
Oh, I look forward
be
to it.
prepared, Brittany. Yeah.
Well, we're so glad that you joined us again today on A3 Aging Ann Arbor, and that we were able to have Brittany on the show. It's been great.
It's
So
been a
thank
real
you.
pleasure.
Thank you
so
Faye.
much.
Thank you, Sheila.
If you liked what you saw, please click the bell button and subscribe. This episode was sponsored by Senior Helpers Ann Arbor. That was A3 Aging Ann Arbor, your source for all things aging.
Please like, share, and subscribe for more episodes. Thanks for watching.
This episode was sponsored by Senior Helpers of Ann Arbor.